What's up, everyone? This is Carnes, aka Adam, back with another AEW Week In review. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media's down there. I'm in a really bad mood because I had already recorded this, and this stupid mic was muted. So I have to do it all over again. Capture the same magic that I did the first time. Anyway, as always, I go over everything that happened with AEW for the week. BTE, Dark, and Dynamite. If I hear some rumors, I'll throw that in. Or if, you just don't have time to watch it all, I compact everything in there and give you as much detail as possible on the matches. So, I'm going to jump right into it again. BTE, so the episode was titled Heel Turn. Obviously, we know why. Sting backstage coming out. We have a kind of a view of like his first appearance. So they were filming that just like they did with Moxley, following him through until he actually, revealed himself. We get Silver cutting a BTE title promo. He needs multiple takes. Pretty funny. They have a number one contenders match in a match of Uno. So obviously Evil Uno is in it. With Trent, Aaron Solo, Chuck, and Orange Cassidy gives his spot to Shawn Dean. They in the end, Shawn Dean wins it. So they're going to be playing skits next week, something with Skittles. I don't know what it is. But Shawn Dean getting a little BTE title rub, so that's good. We get a kind of a recap of Max Caster and the Acclaimed going off on the Bucks, and then the TH2 attack from Dynamite. So we have when Nick got thrown into the dumpster, he wakes up and he's like, I hope 1.1 million people didn't see that, even though we know 1.1 apparently watched that particular segment. We got Ortiz, Diamante, and Dasha. They're looking for Alex Evermentez. They end up finding him watching Dark Order on his phone, drinking purple Kool-Aid. So we get the Dark Order leaving a trail of whiskey into the clubhouse. They're doing that to get Hangman there. They decide to have a drink of their own. Colt said he doesn't drink. They're like, oh, we'll just have one. So yeah, we know where this is going. Kaz, walking around angry, finds Cutler's wearing his shirt. He gets real pissed off at him, goes off on him. Leva actually likes the shirt, and then he just walks off really angry. We get Marco wishing Hardy good luck for the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal. Asks him about why he's wearing that outfit. Hardy is wearing his Hardy Boys recent one. He says the outfit is iconic, and people like Stunt wouldn't even be here without the Hardys. He said the Hardys book, the Bucks book was good, but obviously Matt's was better. And Jericho, for some reason, walks by and says that Marco Stunt should write a book. So we get Dark Order is drunk in the clubhouse, obviously, and they're doing body shots off of 10. Very weird, but still funny. Cutler's walking around. He walks in on Sammy doing one of his vlogs with Fuego del Sol. They cut promos on each other, Fuego and Cutler, because they have a match on Dark. Hardy meets up with Private Party at the bar. Cassie says, "Oh, I guess we'll have Betrayal on the Rocks." They're both upset with him because he, kind of eliminated them. He said that he thought that Cassie would be able to skin the cat, and then he said that Quinn tried to do the silly string with him, and he was not ready for it and had not practiced it, and that his elimination distracted him. Therefore, that's why he got eliminated. And says, let's go to my locker. I got something to show you guys. And you can tell he almost looks a little relieved that they kind of understood. He was like, yo, we're testing you. I was testing you guys. They're starting to see through his new persona. The Bucks are wishing Kenny good luck backstage before the match. They're going to go get the room ready, to do the celebration with the champagne and everything. So Hangman does get into the Dark Order clubhouse. He's about to grab the bottle and just leave, but they're all trying to compliment him and tell him how great he is. And he's like, yeah, I'm just here for the booze. Colt's passed out. Stu has a penis drawn in his face. Uno writes a poem about him, calling him Hungman, and you can see that Hangman's trying not to laugh. While this is going on in the background, you hear the Justin Roberts saying, "A new champion for Kenny." He realizes he's got to go. Silver pukes on Colt. We then get the Bucks going into the room, talking about how Kenny just left. He got in the car, which is what happened with Don Callis. Cutler's celebrating. And they're like, well, did you watch the end? He's like, no, I started getting the room ready. He's like, what happened? And they're like, you didn't see? He's like, come on, tell me what happened. They said, he did what we thought might happen. It's been rumored for a while. Kenny turned heel, and Cutler's like, no. So there you go. Then we get Dark, another massive episode of Dark. I'm going to run through it even quicker than I did the first time because I'm exhausted. Gogo's on commentary for this. Baron Black versus Sonny Kiss. Sonny Kiss hits the split leg drop for the win. Wasn't much that happened there. Brian Cage versus Danny Limelight. Danny Limelight actually got some decent moves in. He did like a tightrope walk and then into a destroyer, which is pretty wild. Eventually, Cage just overpowers him with a powerbomb, buckle bomb, and then into the drill claw for the win. Alice Gracia versus Nyla Rose. This wasn't even a contest. Nyla hit her with the beast bomb for the win. Vicky hits a promo, starts singing her own praises, and says she educated Brandy that her business plan was shit. So obviously that situation's still going. They're going to be aligning themselves, I assume, with Jade Cargill. We get the waiting room and with Dustin and special musical guest Marco Stunt. So Britt congratulates Kenny on the championship, said always great with the mic, obviously because he used the mic in the match. Sting arrived to keep Tony relevant so she doesn't have to. Calls out Thunder Rosa. Talks about someone who's better with their half face painted, and that's Dustin. He comes out, suit, face paint, 80 years old, still putting on 5-star matches, she says, but says that why is Cody getting paid more? So he says, he's paid more in taxes than she makes in dentistry, and then asks if her boyfriend won match of the year, which was like, wow, because he and Cody won match of the year. And then he said he has issues with Dark Order, and he's going to take each of them out. And then Britt Baker says, don't worry, I'm going to go back to my Wrestler of the Year boyfriend. And then the special musical guest, Marco Stunt, which actually was really good. I was surprised, no interruptions, just let him sing a song, which was really good. 10 versus Aaron Solo, 5-6 around. We get a massive spine buster, Trouble in Paradise by Solo, but then Casadora countered into a wheelbarrow suplex. Eventually, 10 hits a ripcord clothesline to the back of Solo's head for the win. Once again, as always, I like to say that I like when people win without their finishers, even though I don't know exactly what 10's finisher is anymore. I know he was using the spine buster at one point, but now it's kind of just, I guess, a mix and match depending on the match. Peter Avalon versus Louis Valley. There was a rough Samoan drop by Peter Avalon, then hits the Martinis for the win. Does a post-match promo. He issues an open challenge to any wrestler who's not only a good wrestler, but also beautiful. So he says it's Pretty Peter's pageant provocation. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Gun Club versus Sean Dean, Sean Maluda, and Sean Risen. So the Gun Club come in one of the golf carts, and they dress it up to look like the Taz taxi, which I thought was really funny. So Excalibur says it's the first time that everyone on one team has the same first name against another team that has everyone with the same last name. Taz with the dynamite drop in of I don't give a rat's ass. So everyone gets their moves in. Ryzen, gets a suck it and a super kick, and then misses a moonsault but catches a famouser by Billy for the win. Red Velvet versus Danny Jordan. Obviously, Danny Jordan has the burn book with Red Velvet inside. Casadora Bulldog standing moonsault for a 2 count, then eventually hits her Just Desserts running kick for the win. Falco and Mike Magnum versus Jurassic Express, which is Luchasaurus and Marco Stunt. Stunt stands on Magnum's shoulders. He does the backpack and then drops it into a DDT. That was actually really innovative. Luchasaurus comes in. He dominates. We get the snap kick by Luchasaurus and then a leg lariat to the back of the head by Stunt for the win. And then this is the match that I said was teased on Being the Elite. Fuego del Sol versus Brandon Cutler. We get Cutler dive, flattens Del Sol on the outside. Dragon Rana by Del Sol for a 2 count. Del Sol fights off a TPK. Then he hits a crossroads, which was really interesting for a 2 count, and then hits the TPK for the win. Brandon Cutler does. Skylar Moore versus Ivelisse. No Diamante out there. Really stiff shots in this. Eventually, Ivelisse gets into the octopus submission for the win. Big Swole versus Lindsay Snow. Another hard-hitting women's match here. Snow hits a V-trigger in the corner for 2 times and then a sliding boot to the face. Eventually, though, Swole battles back and puts her in a Rings of Saturn type of pin for the win. Sotera, Chun, and VSK versus TH2. So TH2 obviously goes for the early beatdown. We get an assisted 450 on Chun, and then Evans stops the count. They mock the Bucks, and then Angelico does the Navarro Death Roll on Chun for the win. Diamante versus Tesha Price. No Ivelisse out with Diamante this time either. They get a slugfest in the middle of the ring. Diamante hits a standing slice spread for a 2 count and then hits the code red for the win. Backstage interview with TH2. So they're talking about their thoughts on a possible title shot if they beat the Bucks on Dynamite. It says, hope the Bucks watched what took place. Freya States versus Shanna. Freya obviously has the size and power advantage. Shanna put in the tree of woe, but Freya misses the cannonball senton because Shanna pulls herself up. We get a roundhouse kick and a stunner by Shanna, and then eventually is able to hit the tiger suplex. That was pretty impressive because of how bigger Freya was than Shanna. So hits the tiger suplex for the win. I really like Shanna, love her gear, big Dragon Ball Z fan. We got the Acclaim versus John Cruz and Michael Nakazawa. Max Caster with another great diss, even throws in Nate Robinson with Bowens doing the fake pass out like Nate Robinson did. Nakazawa's hiding oil in the turnbuckle when everyone's not looking. He starts shooting baby oil at Bowens and hits a spear, then a slipping senton. Taz is in absolute hysterics at this. We get Naka with the splash, catches no one. Spear by Bowens for a 2 count. Naka goes for the thong. Bowen actually traps him in his own thong and then hits him with a super kick. And then they do the Acclaim to Fame, Michinoku driver elbow for the win on Nakazawa. And then we get our main event, Dark Order, Colt Cabana, and Alex Reynolds versus Varsity Blondes. Varsity Blondes are cleaning house. That's the ferry, if you're wondering, Staten Island Ferry. Colt trips Griff on the top rope. Pillman's taking a lot of heat. Hot tag to Griff. Does the fireman's carry driver on Colt. And then Reynolds breaks the count. Colt with a ripcord into Reynolds' forearm on Griff for a 2 count. Eventually, they Varsity Blondes hit a blockbuster spinebuster combo on Reynolds for the win. Just want to check if the mic is still on. Okay. I'm very nervous now. Okay, so the Varsity Blondes get a huge win here against the Dark Order. I think this is their first win against established talent, so that's great for them. Backstage interview with Dustin kind of reiterates what he said on the waiting room. 10 is a big boy, but so is he. Got a lot of history with the Dark Order, wants to destroy every member, starting with 10. Backstage interview with Varsity Blondes. They will be facing FTR and Dynamite. They'll be just as tough tomorrow. Pillman says they have varsity athletics and amazing genetics. That's their tagline, so interesting. And then we get to Dynamite. So we start off with an absolute banger, Young Bucks versus TH2. TH2 with the jobber entrance. We got an earlier today promo with the Bucks saying that they haven't spoken to Kenny in a week. TH2 with the sneak attack. Bucks double spear on the outside. Nick sees the Acclaim on the outside. That distracts him for a little bit. We get Evans off. So Matt's in a fireman's carry by Angelico in the corner. Evans jumps off Matt and then does a springboard flop or whatever onto Nick on the outside. It's pretty cool. Assisted 450 for a 2 count by TH2. Super kick party. Everybody's down. Hot take to Nick. He's cleaning house. We get a springboard X Factor by Nick on Angelico for a 2 count. Matt powerbombs Evans into the Acclaimed on the outside. That was pretty funny. They go for risky business on Angelico for a 2 count. Top rope 450 from Evans on Matt for a 2 count. Doomsday device on Evans on the ramp. That looked rough. Double super kick on Angelico for a 2 count. More bang for your buck. It misses. Evans hits a poison rana on Matt. Navarro death roll on Matt. Nick breaks with a top rope senton. They do a Meltzer driver on Evans on the floor. And then double super kicks to Angelico. And then the BTE trigger for the win. The Acclaim jump over the barricade. They're about to attack, but SCU actually runs into the ring to head them off. So we'll be getting those two facing off. MJF has a promo, says Cassidy makes a mockery of the sport, and he'll repeat as Diamond Champion. We get a Darby vignette. He's doing a Rorschach test, and all of them remind them of members of Team Taz. He's actually tired of Cage, who tried to end his career a couple months back. So he challenges Cage for the TNT title, and then he sees one that looks like Sting's face paint, and he just kind of smirks and kind of has like a half-hearted laugh. Cody's out to the ring. Darby's watching from the upper deck. Tony's about to interview him, but before he even gets a word out, Sting comes out. Arn looks him dead in the eye and says, I just need to make sure this was real. He sees that everyone has an agenda here, so he's going to see himself out. Tony's about to leave, but Sting tells him to stick around, hugs him, asks him to do one more. It's Sting! So he does that. And then Cody thanks him for the assist last week. He said he's been waiting to share the ring with him for a long time. And then Sting says, well, I'm not here for Cody. At least not yet. Not right now. So, something familiar about this place. He points to Darby, a face-painted person in the rafters. Says he's signed to AEW, and he plans to be here for a long time. And then he says to Cody, I'll see you around, kid. Heads out. Team Taz backstage promo. Taz's son is with them now. He's going to be training with them. Basically just saying, shitting on Cody, Darby, Sting, the whole group. FTR versus Varsity Blondes. FTR is super aggressive on Pillman. He's taking heat mostly. He gets the shit beat out of him most of this match. Dax hits a brainbuster on Pillman. Then they hit the Goodnight Express on Pillman for the win. Cash shove stunt on the outside, so that's probably setting up the next feud between them and Jurassic Express. We had it earlier today with Paige. He's at the bar, obviously. Says that he has a 6-man tag against Private Party and Hardy, but he has no tag partners. And up here, Reynolds and Silver wearing kids' cowboy hats. They were behind the bar. They said they've been there for almost 7 days waiting. Just one match. Hangman agrees because, they say, who else are you going to tag with? So he says, okay, one match, but he's not joining the Dark Order. And they say, sure, no problem. 10 versus Dustin Rhodes, which was talked about a lot on Dark. Lee Johnson's out with Dustin. We get a massive spine buster by 10. Aaron Solo grabs 10, catches a pump kick because obviously they had that match between them before. I don't know if this is a push for Aaron Solo, being that he does have a famous significant other, Bailey. And so Dustin bites the face and then hits a running bulldog for the win. This was a little shocking, just that I had no doubt that Dustin would win, but just from a running bulldog, I found that really weird. So the Dark Order come out. They say they can't change the past, but they can improve the future. Why is it that Dustin is the third most important Rhodes? And they're asking, will you be number 7 of the Dark Order? First off, I thought there was a 7 already. Secondly, 7's a bad number for Dustin Rhodes. If you know anything about history, if not, go to Wikipedia, look it up. It was a defunct storyline with him when he went back to WCW that made him look like a child abductor. So he puts up his hand, Uno does the signal, and then Dustin slaps him. The entire Dark Order is about to bum rush the ring. Uno holds him off and says, you know what? You'll understand. When you finally understand, you'll come begging for our help. So we'll see what that happens there. We get Tony interview with Brandy and Shaq. They're all sitting down. Brandy's in a sling. Obviously, Shaq says he knows Jade's family. They go way back. But he didn't appreciate what she did to Brandy's arm, and Brandy thanks him for that. He's like, yo, me and your husband Cody went back and forth on Twitter, but that's just me being me, you know what I'm saying? Can you dig it? So Brandy understands it. She's about to leave, and then Shaq has to get one last word and says, while you're on the shelf, you should get some pointers from Jade. And she's like, what? Like, that's what you come with? And he's like, I'm not kidding. She's like, you're an overgrown asshole, and throws a drink in his face, and his face there was just meme-worthy. It was great. So now we get the Inner Circle ultimatum that was made last week by Chris Jericho. No Santana still. From what I understand, his stepfather passed away, so my condolences to him and his family. Obviously, take all the time you need. You're a fantastic member of LAX, Inner Circle, AEW. You have a huge future ahead of you. In my mind, I've thought that since you were in Impact Wrestling. But yeah, definitely take all the time you need. The fans will be here and ready to embrace you when you get back, and just know that we're all pulling for you. So, MJF says, he loves each and every member of the Inner Circle. He obviously believes he's the issue. People think that he wants to take over or break up the Inner Circle. He chose to be here. He wanted to be here. Jericho says, we all watch Dynamite. MJF, when he tries to say that he didn't do anything with the towel, which I like, because so often in WWE they're like idiots and never watch the product or backstage segments. Ortiz says, Wardlow and MJF are assets, but they're debatable as human beings. Goes over to Sammy, says, you don't always get to choose the hand you're dealt. Shake his hand. Let's get through this. Sammy says, if there's one more thing that happens, he quits. And Jericho agreed. He said, fine. So they all shake hands. Jake has a question, though. He says, why does this guy keep staring at me? Wardlow comes back and says, well, why is this guy still staring at me? So it's pretty funny back and forth. They agree not to stare at each other, but they are. And then MJF tries to lead, and Jericho's like, dude, you're ruining it. So let's all hands in. So they're giving the middle fingers, so they're back together for now. Marvez is backstage with FTR and Tully. Cash is taking the responsibility for their loss to the Bucks. Tully says, no, this was a collective effort. I wasn't allowed to be there, and we're unbeatable when we're together. Their goal is to get back those titles. Then we get Eddie, Butcher, and the Blade versus Archer and Lucha Brothers. Archer hits a ridiculous splash over the top rope to take out everybody. Penta gets put through a table from Butcher and then gets helped to the back. He's nursing like a knee or a leg injury of some sort. So it's a 3-on-2. They're isolating Phoenix for a while. The Bunny's even attacking Phoenix when the ref wasn't looking. We get a handspring cutter by Phoenix on Eddie out of desperation. Gets the hot tag to Archer. He comes in. We get an absolute hoss battle with him and Butcher. Archer gets isolated in picture-in-picture. Gets the hot tag to Phoenix. He does a tope con hero through the ropes on Eddie, which looks super dangerous, but also looked awesome. Powerbomb neckbreaker combo on Phoenix by Butcher and the Blade for the win. Archer starts attacking them all, and then Butcher saves Blade from a blackout. We get Nyla, Jade, and Vicky attacking Velvet backstage. Serena Deeb and Big Swole come to her aid. Then Evilise and Diamante get involved. So that's pretty, at least they're doing something with the women's division, I guess. Abaddon versus Tesha Price. Abaddon's first match in a while. She's in complete control. Ends up doing this gory special neck breaker for the win. Attacking Tesha Price after the match. Sheeta's music hits. She has the kendo stick. She's almost reluctant to get in the ring, but she does. She wails Abaddon in the head with the kendo stick, who goes down. She starts helping Tesha Price up. And then we get Abaddon with the Undertaker sit up looking. It was pretty creepy. You could tell Sheeta is not a fan of Abaddon. Backstage with Dasha and the Inner Circle, says they say they'll join MJF at ringside for his match. Kenny and Callis are arriving, and then we get Kenny and Don Callis arriving via helicopter like Flair, dressed in even more cleaner style. We get more cleaner girls this time for the entrance. Tony says he's never been more disgusted, which I think is absolute bullshit. I mean, he was through the NWO. So Don Callis says, "Welcome to the wrestling biz," as a kind of thing for TK, Tony Khan. Hold on one second, I'm sorry. This is bothering me. There we go. They gave birth to AEW based on their Kenny's match with Jericho in the Tokyo Dome. They plotted and they planned for years. They're just getting started. So what ended up happening was Kenny was actually on Impact last week. I don't do recaps of Impact simply because I barely get numbers for these. So... but I do watch it most of the time, or I just fast forward through certain things. So he was at the end with Josh Matthews, with Don and Kenny, having an interview, basically saying that, pretty much similar to what they said now, that they plotted and planned this for so long. Kenny even made mention that, I'm a collector, maybe I'll start collecting titles, which leads to speculation that maybe he'll have a match with Rich Swann, possibly even Nick Aldis for the NWA title. We'll see. So then we get, next week we're told Cody versus Angelico, Hardy Party, so that's Matt Hardy and Private Party versus Hangman, Silver, and Reynolds. The Acclaim versus SCU, Evilise and Diamante versus Serena Deeb and Big Swole. So we get some other programming notes. On the 23rd, in 2 weeks, it'll be the AEW Holiday Bash following Inside the NBA. On the 30th, the next week, will be New Year's Smash Night 1. Chris Jericho will be on commentary. And then on the 8th, I believe, or the 6th, I'm sorry, New Year's Smash Night 2, Snoop Dogg will be on commentary, which I think is really cool. TK, capturing the zeitgeist, finger on the pulse. Everyone's been talking about Snoop Dogg's commentary of the Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight, so there you go. Dynamite Diamond Ring final, MJF versus Orange Cassidy. We get the Inner Circle out with MJF, Best Friends out with Cassidy. MJF attacks before the bell, breaks Cassidy's glasses. We get a Stun Dog Millionaire by Cassidy. Goes for an orange punch, hits the post, and that sets the tone for the rest of the match. It was basically just going after Orange Cassidy's arm and hand. MJF power bombs on the apron with Cassidy's arms tucked into the back of his pants. Top Flight, Cutler, and Varsity Blondes all come down as Best Friends grab them during picture-in-picture. Cassidy starts firing up, hits a diving DDT for a 2 count. Double underhook, shoulder breaker, and then a Tiger Driver by MJF for a 2 count. Goes for the Heat Seeker, misses. Cassidy springboard senton takes out the Inner Circle. He does hit the Heat Seeker eventually, but he has his feet on the ropes, and the ref sees it. We get MJF tries the bat trick, basically doing the whole, trying to hit with the bat, and then the ref sees it. because he took too long. So he ends up having the bat. The ref sees it, takes it out of the ring, doesn't call the match. Cassidy hits Beach Break for a 2 count, goes for an orange punch for a close 2 count, goes for a second orange punch. Wardlow puts MJF's foot on the ropes. A big brawl breaks out on the outside. Everyone's fighting, and then Miro comes down to ringside, hops the ropes, takes out Cassidy with a just vicious lariat, which allows MJF to pin him for the win. Best friends go after Kip and Miro. And then Miro is taking out security. I think he actually murdered somebody. He just threw them right off the stage. It was pretty crazy. So there you have it. That is AEW for the week. As always, I do my match of the week. It's definitely this Dynamite Diamond Ring final. Obviously, there was a long finish here, but there was a lot of storylines built into it. Obviously, you have the Inner Circle. You have Best Friends with Kip and Miro. You have MJF with Cassidy and the Inner Circle. You have like XLAX and Best Friends from their parking lot brawl. So, and then obviously setting up matches for next week with Varsity Blondes and what do you call it? Top Flight with this big like 7-man tag. So there's a lot going on here. Fantastic match. MJF is great at what he does. So there you have it. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. Sorry I had to speed through this, but I am exhausted having to do this twice now. So as always, be safe, love each other, and bye now.